I've been working something out in my mind lately, and I would like to do my first video beginning to try to talk about it. I have a feeling that this is going to take me more than one video to explain. Somewhere in my feed or on one of my channels somewhere, there will be a meditation guide. It's actually not a meditation, it's a visualization exercise. It's called Namaste Visualization. If you can find that and do that first, it would be really helpful to understanding what I'm going to talk about, but I'll try to explain. There's some channeled material that I have come to understand is regarding the nature of the soul and how it applies to the unified field of consciousness. And so I'm going to explain that first, and then I should be able to explain this coalescence between samsara, reincarnation, and the idea of heaven, or the bardos, or soul progression. That they are not mutually exclusive, and that it's possible through utilizing the sort of connective tissue of quantum entanglement, that we can maybe be able to bring those two ideas together. It's not such a thing of duality after all. But let's begin with some idea of what is the soul essence, that thing which animates the meat bag. So you are, of course, I think you probably, if you're on this channel, you already know that you are not your body. I used to believe that I was just my body, and that when I was finished with my body, or my body was finished with me, essentially, when the aneurysm exploded, that I would die and be cremated and go into the earth, and that I would be able to take the big sleep. I think that that actually gave me some comfort in a way, like to know that it would be over eventually and I wouldn't have to deal with this bullshit anymore of life. Turns out I was probably wrong about that. So if you've been on this channel, then you already know that I fell down a flight of stairs almost about 9-10 months ago, and fell out of my body and then came back in the body, and experienced some degree of astral projection, and then some energy things with my hands now, and some psychic stuff, and it's kind of a wild ride, but anyway, that there's a lot of stuff going on. I can explain all of that stuff later, but that's not what this is about. So I used to believe that, and then that thing happened to me, and then all this other stuff has been happening to me since then, and that's why I'm in the situation that I'm in now, where I'm even discussing this. So let's say that we can take a leap of faith and agree that you are more than your corporeal existence, more than this body, that you, the essence of you, the soul, the spirit, whatever you would like to call it, consciousness, in science we call it more consciousness, is beyond just the body, and that consciousness even creates the experience that you're having in the body. I'm not talking about your brain. Your brain, although it is related to this, is a sort of a meatbag tool for survival. I'm talking that in that sense, then it would be closer to like the ego, right, of what they say about the ego. You need your ego. I know that it's a really pain in the ass, but you need it to survive. And you need it in order to be afraid of death, and to figure shit out. But it will also be the ticker tape of negativity that will be quite distressing. That is not the neutral observer, which is separate and full back. Now, the neutral observer, which we could call your essence or your soul, that feeling that you have sometimes that you're being watched, is yourself. Um, in connection with the unified field of consciousness, which we talk about in science, but I mean, some people in more the sort of Kundalini or the spiritual New Age world might call the silver cord that attaches the body to that bigger thing. And that, these are all just visual images and ideas. We don't know. Obviously, we don't know. Um, but, well, I mean, we know some things. But anyway, so let's say, for the sake of argument, that you do have a soul and that you are a spiritual being who is animating this body and having this experience. And that this experience of your five senses pulling you down magnetically to this experience is so that's why it's difficult for you to remember or to know of this other thing. Now, that other thing, let's say, for the sake of argument, that it is light particles radiating at a particular frequency, which is your frequency. Let's say that it's smaller than a molecule or an atom or a proton or an electron or a quark, or however small science is currently calling it. Let's just say it's smaller than that by infinitesimally, and more important, and that there are more of them, like within that tiny space, right? And let's just say, for the sake of argument, that the unique sound, the quantum. Let me just talk about harmonics. So everything is light particles radiating at different frequencies. That's essentially it. That's matter. That's consciousness. That's everything. The you, that is the you of the, the real you, that has a vibration, it has a sound, it has a name, right? And it's the essence of you vibrating at your unique frequency. Like that tinnitus that you have, that particular tone, that's your tone. So let's pretend, like in my Namaste visualization exercise, like you are a sort of pink cloud in the universe vibrating at your unique frequency, who is just a bunch of light particles up there until it animates the meat bag. Now, before that, and time is not linear, so I'm just using time this way just to kind of get you in here, but that's not the way it works. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that you're up there in the stratosphere vibrating around, and it's amorphous. And through quantum entanglement and quantum understanding, you might be in more than one place at the same time. Some of your particles go over here, and some of them go over here, and some of them go to this planet, some of them go to that planet. I know this sounds crazy, but just bear with me just for a minute.